Well, first off, welcome to Wyoming.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Good to be here.
Thanks for the $1 million, by the way.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
My pleasure.
So if you've given us that much, I would assume that there's certain things you would like to see that money spent on.
Right.
Okay.
And it's quite, well, it's being given to this laboratory here, the DCI's lab. And a lot of it's going to be spent on DNA. So, you know, I think that's helpful to all of law enforcement.
Was
here.
part of that rape kits? Is that one of the things I heard it was? Yeah,
Rape
that's very
kits.
important in the state because we're short on those.
Right. And Wyoming has a commitment to, to have every case get a rape kit very quickly. So we've been able to supply that, and then the DNA will go a lot toward cold cases.
Right. You were talking a lot earlier today about the bigger cities, some of the problems we have there right now. Wyoming, of course, is a completely different story.
Right.
In some of our precincts, we have maybe 2 police officers there. So obviously, the training and the problems are going to be quite a bit different.
Right.
So I would assume that your office sees Wyoming a bit differently in that sense as far as training and how you have to deal with us.
Absolutely. You know, I've said from the beginning that we have to make sure that we make distinctions among police forces and the various localities and the problems they face. One size doesn't fit all. And a lot of programs in the past, grant programs and others, have been biased toward going into the big cities. And so I've talked about a rural initiative, meaning that we have to take care of states that are not as densely populated, don't have the same big urban areas, and where you have a lot of smaller police forces, both through our grants and through some of the things we're going to be doing in terms of trying to help police increase their training.
Right. Well, and that would include, as you also were talking about, and some of the people sitting next to you, that we do have some big problems where drug cartels are coming in. Mm-hmm. I didn't know about the money laundering coming into the state as well. So on a federal level, how is that being looked at here in Wyoming? Because that's, I mean, I would say this is a good opportunity for people who want to stay hidden.
Right. So, you know, generally, the federal government tries to lean forward and help the state as much as possible when you have gangs or organized crime, drug trafficking and drugs, and gun violence. And here, there is an increasing drug problem, particularly methamphetamine, and that's where we're trying to focus our efforts.
Okay. You had a major win today, Kansas City, I believe. Right. Okay, there was an arrest?
Yes. You know, we have a multi-city surge of federal resources in some of the inner city areas where after the demonization of police, you started seeing an upsurge in violent crime. You know, murders, shooting violence, and we've put more federal resources in that. We called it Legend after a little boy, a 4-year-old boy, who was killed, shot in the face while he was in bed. His name was Legend Talifero, and we called this project Legend. And just today, because of the good work of the Kansas City Police, supported by the FBI and the U.S. Marshals, we caught the shooter in that case, or at least we've charged. The local authorities have charged a suspect they believe is the shooter.
Let me give you one last question on that. Kansas City is one place, Chicago is another place. These are inner cities that have a major problem. You can increase the police force, but I really honestly think there's only so much even they can do. Is it a cultural problem, a police problem, both? How do you solve the community inner city problem?
Well, first you need peace on the streets, and there you need the strong police chief who's willing to work with federal law enforcement. You need a prosecutor who is willing to prosecute the cases. You need a mayor who supports the police. You need a governor who supports the police. And we don't have that in every state. And so some states are having problems. The DAs won't prosecute the cases. They don't. The mayor doesn't support the police. That kind of problem. We've tried to identify cities like Kansas City and others like Cleveland, Detroit, where the law enforcement community is working well together, and we're making some real progress on reducing the violence.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming to Wyoming.